Alright, so hey guys, so welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Wukong, as well as check out the build that I put together yesterday on stream. Now, since the new and improved Wukong kind of follows the way of the Todd in that it just works, it doesn't really matter all that much what you actually put on, because, as I've just said, it just works, kind of regardless of what you put on, unless you like stack shields or something, but even that would probably work just fine. It wouldn't be optimal, but it would work. But anyway, the build I ended up with is using Steel Charge as its aura because it's an Umbra build, so I want the extra capacity, and it also adds some extra melee damage for Primal Fury. Then I decided to go with Aviator, which is very cheap capacity-wise, so that's good for the setup, and it's also just good damage reduction that you get every time you're in the air, so while you're just jumping around or you're aim gliding. Moving on from there, we have Umbra Vitality for a ton of extra health, Umbra Fiber for a ton of extra armor, and Umbra Intensify for a ton of extra power strength. If you don't have the Umbra versions, just use the regular versions, it's fine. Now, I also decided to add a little bit extra power strength with Ogre Secrets, which is also very cheap capacity-wise, and this is mainly so that the clone has a little bit of extra health, so it doesn't die as easily, your Primal Fury does a little bit more damage, and it's also much easier to stack full armor with Defy. Now, after that, we have Adaptation, which is a massive overkill, so you don't have to use this, and you can use another mod of your liking. The reason I use it is, well, I have it, so why not? And then we have Rage, which is really good for generating energy because you don't have a lot of shields, so the enemies are gonna blast straight through them and start damaging your health, which will generate energy, which means you basically have infinite energy. It's really good. And the final two mods on the menu are Primed Continuity and Narrow-Minded for a crap ton of power duration. This is mainly so that the armor buff you get from Defy lasts about a minute. 59 seconds actually, with Narrow-Minded being 2 ranks from the top. And as far as the Iron Staff is concerned, I don't actually like using it too much because of the auto-blocking and no immunity to knockdowns unless you block. It just doesn't feel very good, so the build I have here is Primed Pressure Point for damage, True Steel for crit chance, Organ Shatter for crit damage, Berserker for attack speed, Drifting Contact for combo duration and status chance, Primed Fever Strike and North Wind for viral damage, and finally Shattering Impact for base armor stripping. Now, the most ridiculous thing about the new Wukong by far is the ability to double dip on weapons, so if I unequip everything but the Tsar and I summon my Celestial Twin, we are now both using the Tsar, and if there is one thing better than a Tsar, it's 2 of them, trust me, I did the math. This unsurprisingly results in hilarious amounts of damage being done to anything that moves, but it's not the only thing that's really strong about this, because you can, for example, give your clone the Ignis with 3 elemental status effects and then run Condition Overload melee weapon and just let him spray status on the enemy so that even your first hit will have massive damage multiplication through Condition Overload. It's ridiculous how much stuff you can actually do with this. I mean, yesterday I spent a solid hour and a half on stream just faffing around in the simulacrum and just trying out different things to see what works and what doesn't. So I would highly recommend experimentation because the things you can do with this mechanic are just amazing. But anyway, back to the build. So with this particular setup, the Wukong clone has about 5,500 health and about 1,000 shield, so he's not gonna die anytime soon. The armor bonus from Defy is really easy to cap in most missions thanks to all the power strength, and as I've said already, the buff lasts about a minute with all the power duration that we have. Primal Fury does a decent amount of damage. It's not like Meme Strike Atarax level of damage, but it will clear sorties for you. And Cloudwalker, thanks to all the power duration, is actually really good for getting around because it lasts about 4.5 seconds. It also heals for a decent amount, so whenever you or your clone are low on health, simply jump into Cloudwalker and ta-ta, you're back to full. Though don't forget to move around because you will only heal if you're moving around. So there you go, this is the build that I am now using on Wukong. I will probably try some other builds as well. I will most likely go for a Primal Fury setup with maybe some knockdown recovery or maybe even primed sure-footed, I don't know. But as I've said in the beginning, it doesn't really matter what you put on as long as you and your twin can survive. And that is pretty much all I wanted to say, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and I will see you on Monday. Bye bye.
The song of sons and